Hey you all, welcome back to Pros of Eden, and as promised, we're back here for part 2 of the conversation. Yesterday we talked about, our political conversation was all about identity and how they're coming for your children's identity. So if you didn't see that video, go back and watch it because it was very good. And today we're going to talk about the reformulation. We're talking about why are they busing in all the immigrants? Is it because they're wanting to be charitable? Is it because they're so kind and they're so nice? Or is there a darker agenda? So today we're going to talk about the replacement theory. We are catching all of the news and all of the controversy about Springfield, Ohio's neighborhoods being overrun by immigrants, New York, Chicago, California. It's everywhere. People are sharing their stories. And I think it's quite interesting how they tried to paint Donald Trump as the bad guy when he did the debate and he mentioned Springfield, Ohio, which we hadn't heard Kamala Harris say anything. Furthermore, we didn't hear the Biden administration address this crisis that the American citizens have been speaking out against. And many of you who are not new to the channel, you know we were talking about this for weeks, months. We've been talking about the immigration crisis and how it's affecting those cities and towns. And so when Donald Trump mentioned it, it wasn't new, but they act as though it was something that he created these storylines. And you all know that's simply not true, but that just goes to show you the propaganda and the fake news and how they can spin a story, because we had been talking about it here on the channel before Donald Trump even mentioned it. He just, as he always is a voice for the people. And when he was on that debate stage, he actually spoke out for the people of America. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is so busy protecting the immigrants and the illegal immigrants that they're busing in. She doesn't want to hear from the American citizens. And yes, that's a problem. Listen, let me tell you all something. I think that anybody who wants to come over here and they want to do so the right way, I'm all for it, you all. I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm not against immigration at all. I'm not even against immigration where you're bringing people over under the asylum, where they are seeking refuge. But let the American people know what's going on. But what we're seeing is they're flying in, they're busing in by the thousands, hundreds of thousands of immigrants. And whose neighborhood are they showing? Yeah, so, whose neighborhoods are they showing up at? Unfortunately, they are showing up. The immigrants are being bused into low-income rural towns who are not getting any money. They're not sanctuary cities, but they are being bused in, dropped off in their communities without any resources and any help. And this is what the American people are wanting answers to, especially when it shows up to your front yard. It's truly beyond the cats and the dogs. Eat the cats, eat the dogs. Yes, that's a funny meme, but the truth be told, people's cats were coming up missing, you all. These were the citizens of Springfield, Ohio. Ducks and geese were coming up missing. These stories were all over the internet long before Trump said a word about it. And so we have to understand, while they're trying to spin the story to get you distracted, to get you in your feelings, to say anybody is racist that has questions, they paint you as a bigot, as a racist. If you just want to know where are they coming from, what's going on, why are they just being bused in the thousands? It's not okay that they're just setting tent in my yard and I don't have any say so. It's not okay that you're giving them driver's license and they haven't taken any courses. As American citizens, we have to take a test. But you know what they're doing? And we're going to get to the replacement theory. They are giving, if you're of age, you don't have to show documentation. This is what's happening Springfield, Ohio, and around the United States of good old America. They are giving them license. If they're of age, they just sign a waiver and they have to do that every 45 days. Why would you give someone a license without having to take a test? This is what the people are talking about, because they know that if they give you a license, you can do what? You can vote. So it's not out of the kindness of their heart that they're issuing driver's license without any documentation, without any tests. They want to swing the vote. Because if you show up with a driver's license, you can vote, you get a voter ID, you're in the game. Why are they dropping them off to a lot of the rural towns to possibly, it's a theory, to flip those red states blue? You have to understand, if you tell people, hey, I brought you over here, and you make them all these promises, who are they going to vote for? And who are their children going to vote for? It's a long game. So how does that apply to African Americans and many other people who are in the good old United States of America? Why is it called the replacement theory, especially when it comes to the African American population? Because you are being replaced by the immigrants who are coming over who will vote blue. So you're slowly being obsolete. If you can change the total demographics of a space and place, you can get the vote. Now, there are sanctuary cities that are getting resources, that have the money and the funds, but these towns like Springville, Ohio, and Athens, Alabama, who's paying for this? And they want answers. And it's not racist for people to want to say, hey, you can't just squat on my lawn. It's not racist to say these people, they have to have a legit driver's license and take a test because they're driving all on the wrong side of the road. They don't know our laws, but you just give them a driver's license. And when someone comes up hurt, we've already had one child that was killed on a bus because, I hate it, but they were recklessly driving. That's a criminal charge. I'm sure they have been paid well. But that doesn't take the pain or hurt away of losing a child. And I always say, these things are going to show up at your own front door if you're ignorant to what is truly happening. It's not about immigrants and people not wanting immigrants to come over. It's about our borders are wide open. We don't know who is in our country. That is a security breach of such a high level. It is a crime against humanity. And meanwhile, they're playing games and they're hoping that they can bank on your emotions so they can continue being deceptive. They're not doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Now, how are we to treat these immigrants that are here? We are to show them the love of Christ. It's not their fault. They are taking advantage of an opportunity, especially the ones that are being bussed in and they're flying them in. Now, those who are crossing over with no help or assistance, they're just going over the border. They're here because our lack of security, our borders are just open, you all. So at the end of the day, it's not even their fault if you leave the doors open to your house and you think nobody's going to walk in and take a look around. It's just we're at a very dangerous place and space. And to my Christian believers, even in the Bible, there were walls. Even in the Bible, there were borders. To my Christian sisters and brothers who feel like, well, I think we just have to host any and everybody that wants to come. You have doors in your house. So when someone wants to just show up, and they want you to entertain them because your house is there and available, you gonna just let them in? What about the American citizens who are saying that people are just squatting, they're putting tents on their front lawn? Are you okay with that? Will you be okay with that? These are just questions, you all. And I'm getting really sick of the narrative of where they're painting American citizens as the bad guy because they want answers. And they want to feel safe in their own city, in their own town, in their own house, for God's sake. How would you feel if somebody pitched a tent in your yard and refused to move and threatened you on your own property? This is where we're at. Is this all of the immigrants behaving this way? I don't believe so, you all. I don't think so. But we have to have some parameters and guidelines, because if we don't, we are in for a hot mess like we saw in Colorado, Aurora, where those Venezuelan gangs were just taking over apartment complexes. And again, where is this really happening? In the low income neighborhoods. It's affecting them more than ever. And those of you who vote Democrat, those are your cities and towns that most often are ran down. Most affluent areas are Republican districts. So when you see poor neighborhoods, poor resources, it's most often a Democratic ran city. And you see high crime rate, which is an oxymoron, because these same people that are telling you to vote Democrat, it's like you're cutting off your nose to smite your face, because you vote Democrat, but then you go live in Republican districts and Republican governed neighborhoods and cities. And it's just like, do you really believe what you say you believe? Side note, I also wanted to say that these politicians like Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, while they push all of these liberal policies, they don't even live in the neighborhoods that you live in. They don't have to deal with the results of what they're telling you to vote for. Because meanwhile, they're in their nice gated communities, they send their kids to nice private schools. You are the one that live in these Democratic crime-ridden cities while they're living in the Republican districts. Make it make sense. And most often they don't. They're just voting Democrat because it seems like the party of inclusivity. Well, I would love to hear what you all think. You know, I know it's exhausting. I know so many people are tired, but keep fighting the good fight. Keep being prayerful. Allow the Lord to guide you. Purify your heart. Renew in me a clean heart and a right spirit every day. Because it's easy to become jaded by all of this. It really is. And you've got to keep your heart pure. You got to stay in prayer, stay connected to God and His Word, and He'll guide you through this season. But we as the American people cannot be afraid to sound our voices and stand up for what we believe is right. That's the American freedom that we're due and that we have as American citizens. And I believe they need to answer the questions of the people. Alright guys, I love you to life. If you are new to the channel, please hit subscribe. I would love to have you a part of the community. And I'll see you all soon, probably for a lunchtime Wisdom Wednesday word, where I'll just offer some encouragement based on what the Lord has given me to share. So I'll see you all soon. I love you to life. Stay encouraged, okay? It's going to be alright. Alright guys, bye.